So welcome to this deep dive. Today we are immersing you in one of the most high-stakes environments in international harness racing.
It's a huge day.
Massive. It is Saturday, May 9, 2026. We are at the legendary Åby track, and there is a staggering 44 million SEK jackpot on the line today.
That is a lot of money to be fighting over.
Yeah, to say the least. So we've combed through a massive stack of training reports, tactical analysis, and all the consensus data. Our mission for this deep dive is to walk you through every single race on the V85 card. So let's unpack this right away with Race 1, V85-1. This is the Queen's Cup for mares. Now, the consensus favorite across all our sources is Gourmet Dark, and she drew post position 1.
Right on the inside reel.
Right. Now, normally drawing post 1 is pure gold, right? You just blast forward and hug the rail. But with that double open stretch looming at the end, I have to ask, isn't starting on the far inside actually a massive trap today?
Oh, it absolutely can be. It completely alters the tactical landscape of this race. The pure physics of being on the inside rail means if she doesn't accelerate perfectly, the horses on her outside will just collapse inward.
Right, they just cut off her momentum.
Exactly. And the peloton will simply swallow her. She gets totally boxed in.
So she's trapped.
Yeah. Her stable knows this, though. So they are trying to manipulate her mechanics by racing her with a lighter balance. They're likely pulling her front shoes off to give her a quicker, more explosive first step.
Okay, but if she does get swallowed by the peloton anyway, the analysis highlights a pretty scary primary challenger ready to take over. Pure Athena.
Yes. She won her qualifying heat completely uncontested.
Uncontested. And I'm seeing reports that she might actually race completely barefoot today.
Which is a massive gear shift for her. It really is.
But we shouldn't overlook the dark horses here.
Right.
Especially if those two leaders just burn each other out, fighting for that early position.
No, we definitely shouldn't. The data points to Slipstream Zun.
Yeah, she finished her heat with a blistering 11.5 pace over the last 200 meters, which is just flying.
And then there's Jacqueline Zett. She actually finished her last race with an incredibly high level of saved, unexpended energy.
So she has gas left in the tank.
Exactly. If Gourmet Dark and Pure Athena engage in a pure drag race early on to avoid getting trapped, a horse like Jacqueline Zett, she's just running efficiently in the slipstream. She has the fuel tank to run them down when those open lanes appear.
Wow. Okay, so the first race is this delicate puzzle about avoiding a trap on the rail. Let's move to V85-2. The Stowe Division. This race forces us to look at how horses overcome pure traffic. We have 15 mares navigating what's called a Sportrappa starting grid.
Right. The horses with the least money get the most advantageous inside posts, and the richest, historically most successful horses are punished with the worst outside posts.
That's brutal, and that punishment falls directly on the favorite here, Greta Jet. She is riding an incredible 4-race winning streak, but she is moving up in class and starting from a really disadvantageous spot.
Yeah, she has a tough road ahead.
And she's going to have to deal with absolute bruisers out there, like Princess Diamond. Our sources literally describe her as a tank. She drew post 8 way on the outside, but apparently she doesn't care about aerodynamics at all.
She really doesn't. I mean, some horses are psychologically broken by having to run on the outside of the pack, catching all that wind resistance.
Oh, for sure. It's exhausting.
But Princess Diamond thrives on it. She will just grind down the field from the outside.
That is wild. But the horse that truly caught my eye in the data for this race is the ultimate upset candidate. Kind of Magic FR.
Ah, yes.
She's stuck all the way back in post 13. And the stable's response to this terrible starting position, they are threatening to pull all 4 of her shoes off for the very first time.
It's a huge move.
Right. I look at this and I think starting from post 13 is like being at the back of a massive traffic jam. Does taking a few ounces of metal off her hooves really provide enough of a turbo boost to pass 12 horses?
For a high-capacity horse like kind of Magic FR, changing that biomechanical efficiency could literally feel like shifting into a higher gear in the final stretch.
That is fascinating. So it's not just weight, it's the whole stride.
Yeah. Another dark horse utilizing this kind of late race efficiency is Official Socks, who had a phenomenal late surge recently.
It really is incredible how fractions of an inch in a stride can compound over an entire race. Okay, so if V85-2 is about finding efficiency through a traffic jam, V85-3 is, well, it strips away the traffic entirely. It is a pure drag race.
Yes, the Bronze Division, a 1,640-meter short sprint.
Right. And the favorite is Ace Wybe, who everyone expects to just shoot straight to the lead.
On a short sprint like this, holding the lead is paramount, but the margins for error shrink to zero.
So who challenges him?
Well, his primary challenger is basic structure. He's drawn perfectly to sit right behind Ace Wybe in the slipstream, and our sources note his stable is equipping him with closed blinds today.
Okay.
It spikes their aggression and their concentration. Basic structure will be hyper-fixated on Ace Wybe's back, just ready to strike.
Okay, but here is where it gets really interesting to me. The sources present an ultimate wildcard in this race. Bold Eagle Sun.
An incredible horse.
Undefeated. This is a Norwegian horse with a perfect 9-0 record, but he is stuck all the way out in post 12. And almost all the consensus analysis is completely writing him off. I have to ask, if a horse has literally never lost a race in his life, why is everyone ignoring him just because of a number?
It comes down to the unforgiving math of a short sprint. On a 1640-meter track, the turns make up a massive percentage of the race.
Right, because it's so short.
Yeah. If you start in post 12 on the second row, far outside, you physically cannot run in a straight line. To pass the field, you have to swing wide into the third or fourth lane around the curbs.
Oh, so he's basically running a longer race than everyone else.
Exactly. The centrifugal force pushes you out, and you are mathematically running a significantly longer distance than the horses on the inside.
But his camp isn't just accepting that math, right? They're bringing in specialized equipment.
Yes, they are hooking him up to an American bike. When you combine that aerodynamic lift with his barefoot hooves and his pure, raw talent, ignoring an undefeated horse is just dangerous.
Okay, so we've covered the physics of the stride and the geometry of the sprint. Let's move to V85 Åby. This one throws out the moving starting gate entirely. It mixes Class 3 and Class I horses using a traditional Swedish volt start.
Which is pure chaos.
Totally. Some horses start at the normal line, and the better horses are handicapped, starting 20 meters behind them.
Yeah, a volt start is incredibly chaotic.
Okay, so the consensus favorites navigating this mess are Prank, a Norwegian horse, coming off 2 wins following throat surgery, which apparently cleared up his breathing and unlocked his capacity.
Right.
And then there's Owenbros, who has won 2 of his 3 starts in Sweden. But the analysis practically begs us to look at the massive long shots here.
They really do.
There's Mr. Smartface, who has elite capacity but is notoriously tricky in the volt. But the one that really demands an explanation is Chaplin. He's starting in post 12 on the 20-meter edition. And in his last race, he missed the start signal completely. Why should anyone trust a horse who literally didn't hear the bell?
I know it sounds crazy, but it's because of the unique physics of his starting position today. Chaplin has what is called a spring spore, or a spring track. A perfectly timed spring spore start can launch a horse from 20 meters behind right up into the leading pack in seconds before the inside horses have even organized themselves.
Wow.
So if Chaplin gets it right today, he essentially bypasses his entire 20-meter handicap.
That is wild. Okay, so from the physical momentum of the volt, V85 forces us to look at the momentum of the betting public. This is the King's Cup, and we are looking at the biggest favorite of the entire day, Wise Guy.
Yeah, hovering near a 60% win probability.
Which is huge. He's trained by the powerhouse Daniel Redin, and he's trying a Rikuva, or pole blinds, for the first time. The logic seems to be elite trainer plus massive public backing plus new gear equals a guaranteed win. But I have to push back here. When a horse is backed by 60% of the public, is it actually a lock, or is the crowd just suffering from tunnel vision?
The underlying data strongly suggests it is tunnel vision.
Really?
Yeah. A horse carrying 60% of the public money needs to have a structural, insurmountable advantage over the field. Wise Guy doesn't necessarily have that. Yes, pull blinds are a powerful tool. They're basically earplugs the driver can rip out mid-race.
Oh, so they suddenly just hear everything.
Exactly. It exposes the horse to the deafening roar of the crowd, causing this intense adrenaline spike. But look at his challengers.
Right. Pure Count is exceptionally fast off the gate. He has the speed to trap Wise Guy on the outside and force a brutal, energy-draining pace. And then there's Blank, another Redin-trained horse, who had a monstrous finishing kick last time out.
But there is a massive statistical anomaly buried in the sources here regarding a horse named Sven Kutz.
Right. Can you explain the HTS system? Because this makes him the ultimate mathematical dark horse.
This is a really crucial piece of insight. Most bettors look at the finish line to judge a horse's form. Did they win or lose? But the HTS system tracks the actual performance times of the horses, their raw, isolated speed, entirely divorced from how messy or unlucky their race was.
So it's just pure data.
Right. And according to the HTS data, Sven Kuss actually ran faster in the qualifying heats than Wise Guy.
Wait, he was faster than the 60% favorite?
He had the fastest performance metrics of anyone in the heats. But because he didn't win his specific heat, the general public is completely ignoring him.
Wow. Don't trust the finish line, trust the stopwatch. That is a great tip. That brings us to V85-6, the silver division. The common denominator in the analysis here is this concept of a revenge narrative.
Oh, yeah. This is a classic rematch.
Loxahatchee is the favorite. He's a frontrunner who loves to dictate the race. But last time out, as a huge favorite, he totally collapsed under heavy pressure. And the horse that broke him, Pitho. A phenomenal Norwegian horse who was only making his season debut last time, meaning he will be even sharper today.
It is a fantastic psychological duel. Because of that previous collapse, Loxahatchee's driver faces a real dilemma. Do they try to force the lead again and risk burning out, or do they opt for plan B?
Which would be taking a trailing position to use the Åby double open stretch.
Exactly. But getting caught up in a two-horse rivalry is super dangerous when you have a horse like Kaksik in the field.
Kaksik is fascinating. The sources repeatedly mention that he just returned from spending the winter racing in France. Now, you hear this narrative a lot, right? Horses toughening up in Paris. What actually happens over there? Does running on French dirt fundamentally turn a horse into a gladiator? Or is that just a romantic racing myth?
Oh, it is very real. The main track in Paris, Vincennes, is physically punishing. The track surface is this deeper, darker composition that absorbs kinetic energy rather than bouncing it back.
Oh, so it's like running in wet sand instead of on concrete.
Precisely. It is exhausting. Furthermore, the track features a massive uphill gradient, and the French racing style is just relentless. There is no resting or jogging. They grind at maximum output the entire distance.
So it literally forces a physiological adaptation in the horse.
It does. Spending a winter navigating that track forces the horse's cardiovascular system to expand. It builds immense lung capacity, raises their lactic acid threshold, and builds gladiator-level mental toughness. Kaksik brought that French stamina back to Sweden in his recent return, and it showed spectacularly. He simply will not get tired.
Which is the perfect transition into V85-7, the Diamond Mares race. Because if the previous race was about the power of building stamina, this race is a case study in what happens when stamina breaks down.
Yeah.
The heavy favorite here is Liuka. But reading through the stack of analysis, there is a glaring warning sign. She has had 2 incredibly grueling, physically taxing trips in her recent starts. At what point does that fatigue catch up to a favorite? Are bettors just ignoring how tired she might be?
I believe they are. Lactic acid buildup over weeks of hard, stressful racing takes a systemic toll, no matter how talented the animal is. The experts agree this makes Liuka highly vulnerable today. To protect her, her driver might be forced to race passively just to save energy.
And racing passively at 80 invites the wolves. The primary challenger is Skylight, a Norwegian Derby winner who fought brilliantly on the outside of a world-class horse last time before making a late mistake. She definitely has the fitness Liuka might be lacking.
She does. And if Liuka shows any weakness in the final straight, you have closers like SG Empress.
Right, she's stuck in a terrible starting post.
Yeah.
But she possesses a terrifyingly fast finishing kick.
And the sources also highlight Fantastica Doda, who looked incredible in her Swedish debut. You simply cannot afford to be a fatigued favorite on a track that demands explosive late energy.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The fatigue of the mares leads us perfectly into the ultimate test of the day, the grand finale. V85-8, the Paralympia Trevet final.
This is the big one.
It is. There is 1.5 million SEK to the winner. Francesco Zet is the consensus superstar of Swedish racing. He's returning from his own stint in Paris, looking utterly unbeatable, and he is perfectly drawn to take control of this race.
He is undeniably a generational talent, but this is an international showdown. His main threat is a hardened French mare named Harley Gima.
Right. But the tactical map of this race is just a masterpiece of game theory. Dame Brada is widely expected to blast to the early lead. So put yourself in the sulky for a moment. Does Dame Brada immediately release the lead to the superstar Francesco Zet out of respect? Or do they hold the front?
That is the million-dollar question, literally.
Because if they hold the front, what happens to elite closers like Get a Wish or Unis Prince who are lurking in the back of the pack? Enjoy the races.